Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to O State All Day. This one's going to be very quick. I'm just going to cover the picks for the weekend. Last weekend, I went 7-3. I posted a large portion of those on Twitter. I did sprinkle in a couple picks on my videos, which is obviously not the most advantageous route of information. So this video will just be about the picks this weekend. So if you happen to watch UCF put an epic beatdown on SMU, you're probably a future Big 12 fan, so that's good. Now, staying in that lane, you have Houston going to Memphis this weekend. This is a must-win, in my opinion, for the Fighting Danas. If Dana Holgorsen cannot pull this game out, I don't see how he has a job before the plane even lands back in Texas. They're paying him big boy money, and they were supposed to have a big boy season, and if you look at their sidelines, it's a lot like OU sidelines, minus obviously the fisticuffs, but they look so confused, distraught, unaware of what's happening, how to make adjustments. They've got to correct that this weekend. Memphis is not a bad ball club, so this is a must-win for Dana. Do I feel supremely confident? No, but he knows he's got to take this W or he probably is out of a job. So I see Houston rebounding to some degree and beating Memphis in Memphis. If you want to jump down to UNLV. UNLV plays at San Jose State this weekend. You don't hear a lot about UNLV because they only won a couple games last year, and the year before they only won one or two games as well. But Marcus Arroyo, who used to be a coach at Oklahoma State University, seems to be getting that ship course corrected a little bit. So I do see them having what is considered a big win for them at San Jose State University this weekend. Then let's jump into the SEC. You have Tennessee headed to LSU. Do I think that LSU is going to win? No, not really. But do I expect them to keep it close enough that if you were a betting man, that you could potentially bet the points on this game? Yeah. Tennessee, I think, is just a smidge overrated. Offensively, they're as good as anybody in America. Defensively, I don't know that they had an offense that could really test them on all facets yet. So to me, that remains to be seen. But if you're, like I said, a bet man, maybe throw some money on LSU to cover, not to win. Now let's look at Arkansas. Arkansas started so hot, just like last season. I do know that the KJ Jefferson situation is kind of going to cause some difficulties for them this weekend, which is why I don't see him getting it done. I picked the Fighting Leeches of Mississippi State last weekend because of Arkansas's quarterback uncertainty. I think you got to roll with the Fighting Leeches again this weekend for Mississippi State. Sticking in the same breath, future SEC, you have the Irrelevant Toilet Bowl, also known as Red River rivalry this weekend. And I mentioned OU sidelines. I didn't mention OU's quarterback room. It's a disaster. I would argue that the backup quarterback situation at OU may be the worst in the league. Bevel, he's not it, right? And who they have behind him, who some of the fans are clamoring for, you have no clue. So I don't see any way that OU pulls this off. Whether Texas rolls with a healthy Quinn Ewers or a Hudson Card on one leg, probably still beats OU with the situation they're in currently. Sticking in the Big 12, who'd have thunked it that we're talking about TCU at Kansas being a pivotal game in the Big 12 Conference. It's pretty cool. They're both riding a high. They're both undefeated. I do think that both of them have some deficiencies, and one of them will get exploited this weekend. I think, unfortunately, that is KU secondary. Max Duggan, for being a backup coming into the season, deserves a lot of praise, a lot of respect. Sonny Dykes has always been known for his offensive mind, minus his stop at Cal. That was kind of odd. But I see TCU being prepared. I see Kansas not being able to completely roll with the depth, especially in the secondary. So the fun for KU doesn't stop. They're still having a phenomenal season. But I do think that Sonny Dykes is able to exploit the weakness they have in the secondary. TCU's weakness, I don't think, has been exploited yet, but they've definitely got him. Definitely got him. So keep tuning back in for the best information when it comes to Oklahoma State University and all of my deep dives. So, yeah, I definitely think that TCU pulls that one off. Sticking in the Big 12, obviously the big game for us is Texas Tech coming to town. My prediction on that game is 42-28. I do think that Tech is going to use that true freshman quarterback just to kind of add a different layer for us to mess with. So they'll keep it close for a while, but I do have us controlling that game, much like we did the Baylor game. Kansas State at Iowa State, Farmageddon. Really cool story. They have an argument between the two on who was like basically the first farming school, which is why it's called Farmageddon. So yeah, I do some of that deep dive historically as well if you want to check out some more of my videos. But I see K-State pulling that off just because that Colin Klein, Tim Tebow-esque, we're going to run right at you. We're going to be able to tell you exactly where we're going and see if you can stop it thing. I think that works. I think that works well, especially for this type of down and dirty game. So I got K-State in that one. I think that's mostly it. Now, from a betting perspective, I did mention the Tennessee game. I do see Wazoo pulling the upset and getting USC this weekend. Why? Because USC has a phenomenal offense. Their offense is a gorgeous sports car. Their defense hasn't been tested. If their best test is Oregon State, and you're talking about Oregon State's offense, they're about to get lit up, I think, because Washington State is a pretty good program. Their defense is not great either, right? I completely understand that. So it's going to be a shootout, right? Basically, whichever team has the ball at the end wins the game. I do think USC is a better team, but Wazoo's, they're close, man. And I think USC is going to get a little bit exploited this weekend because I don't see them as a top 8 team. Top 10, yeah, probably. Top 8, top 6, absolutely not. So whether they win or not, I do see some of their weaknesses kind of being shown in this one. So go Wazoo. They're my pick on DraftKings for one of the upsets this weekend. I really wanted to pick Army. I really did because they're playing Wake Forest. I'm not a huge believer in Wake Forest, although their quarterback is pretty awesome. Hartman's probably going to play on Sundays, at least to some degree. Army struggled. Like they've kept some games close. Everybody knows that triple option type of attack, even Navy's super, super hard to prepare for. So I really wanted to lean Army, especially me being an Army guy, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, not with who they've played and how they've played. A&M, someone to watch out for. You don't know what you have in A&M. You have a bunch of talent like OU, right? Not like Appalachian State. So I mean, they could win, especially if there's some confusion about the Bryce Young situation. I know the backup looked pretty good whenever he was in. Obviously, he's a major dual threat, so they've got to prepare a multitude of different ways. But at the end of the day, I'm going to bet on A&M. Inside, everything tells me, why would you do that? But I'm not sold on Bama. I think this is the most susceptible Bama team we've seen in a while. So yeah, even though A&M is a dumpster fire, certified, they're a lot like Texas, a lot like OU. They puff their chest out a lot. What's that age-old adage of trying to let your puppy dog mouth overload your bulldog backside? That's what I see with A&M. That's what I see with OU. That's what I see with Texas. But you don't really know where Bama's at right now. I think Bama's kind of scooted by. Texas is not a very good football team, guys. But people look at that game, Bama versus Texas, and think that, either Texas is good or Bama's bad. I guess both could be true. But I think that it's more of the former than the latter. So, yeah, I definitely got A&M pulling that one off. And then another big one for me is Arizona over Oregon. I said it. I'll say it again. Arizona over Oregon. The last few are the games that I'm focusing on when I put my money down on DraftKings. I don't bet a lot, but I damn sure don't make stupid bets that I know aren't going to win me any money either. So take the fun lines, because even if you bet $1, let's say, plus 1,000. you just profited quite a bit of money. Super, super easy. And if you do lose, you lose $1. You win $10 or you lose $1. I mean, to me, the math just makes sense. So I like to view some of the betting angles from that perspective. Anyways, that's my picks. Feel free to jump in the comments section, like, subscribe, share. We'll go over my record after this weekend as well. And we'll just keep on trucking, guys. God bless. Go Pokes. Beat Tech. See you down the line.